Okay, I have a project set up here, and we're going to import the model from the Blender SVG tutorial I done into this project and add some cameras. The project is just 1080 HP, 30 frames. All right, let's get started. So let's make a new comp, and I'm going to make it 20 seconds long because that is the music I have selected for this title card, title 3D, title intro, whatever you want to call it. Let's go ahead and import the model. Here's the model that we exported from Blender. Here it is right here. Okay, I'm just going to import it right now. I'm not going to do any texturing. Makes it easier to set up your cameras, get your workflow down without a bunch of lights and textures. You can always refine later. So let's drag this in. Okay, and you got to add a light so that we can see the text a little bit. We need to see the image a little bit. I'm going to change my views to 3. Top view, just grab the camera back, and I'm going to change this this panel to right view. Okay, so here's our camera. First camera came in when we added the light. Adjust my windows here a little bit. Maybe drag this timeline down so we can see. Okay, so I'm going to set my cameras up. You can determine your own music, your own camera angles. Just going to show you how I do it. Go over here to transform controls. Rotate the camera around so we can see the logo. I'm going to try and recreate the one I showed you in the intro video. All right, first camera. I want the first camera to end at 408. Okay, if I'll get this all set up, like I say, you have to figure this out yourself. I'm going to name it Cam 1. I'm going to set a position keyframe, go to the end of that camera, and the right view, I'm just going to pull the camera up alongside the logo. Okay, that's the first camera. We can zoom in here a little bit so we can see the end of the camera. Pull the keyframe over so we got it. Okay, so let's add a new camera. I want that camera to end at 718, so I'm just going to shorten it up, drag it in here, move the playhead to 718, and trim the camera. Yeah, I'm gonna set up all these cameras. So I'm just gonna duplicate this camera. I'm gonna call this Cam 2, Cam 3, and duplicate it one more time. Call it Cam 4. Okay, so camera 3. I want it to end at 1103. So I'll move my playhead to 1103. Drag the camera out. Camera 4 is just going to go to the end of the timeline. Okay, so there's my cameras. So I'll go back to camera 2. Okay, zoom in here a little bit. Camera 2. We have it selected. Drag it up to the left-hand side of my image, my texture. Crank it around, maybe move it in a little bit. You can see you can adjust the camera pretty easy when you're in 3 views. Oops, grabbed the wrong camera there. Oops. Okay. Sometimes you got to be very careful with your mouse. So we're going to drag that up like so. Going to set a keyframe position. Go to the end of that camera. We're going to drag it down. All right. Camera 3. Just going to grab camera 3, push it up to the logo, pull it down a little bit underneath, spin over its transform properties and rotate it on X. And we'll just kind of look at the, slide it over here. And we'll spin down its transform properties, set a keyframe, go to the end of the camera. And I'm just going to drag it across a little bit. Maybe right. I think I'm a little too low, to tell you the truth. I want to see the top of the logo. So maybe I can just, there we go. We'll just rotate it a little bit. Camera finesse, sorry it's taking so long. Cameras, just trying to show you real time how long it should take you to do something like this. Go to my last camera. Make sure my keyframes here. Oops, sorry. Make sure my keyframes are in and up on the end of my cameras. All right, we're going to go to this last camera. I'm just going to push it into the logo. Maybe right here. Again, I'm a little low. I think I'll just pull it up a little bit. We're going to set a keyframe for that. I want this to go out to about 14 seconds or so. Shrink my window up so we can get a little faster. Still, sorry, apologize, a little slow. Let's put this playhead at about 14 roughly. And just pull the camera back to, right there. Right there looks good. Okay, so now we should have a 4-camera animation on our logo. And then we can start texturing the logo itself. Now you set your cameras up any way you want. Pick your music, pick your timing, use your cameras, use 1, use 10, use 3. That looks pretty good. Okay, so on to the next part. We're going to put some textures on this object. All right, so let's texture this model. I'm going to go back to a single view. Click on the cogwheel for the properties of the model. You'll have, I ended up with 2 material layers. Second one is what I'm going to use. Second one, that's the only one that works. I'm going to use a bronzed polish. I'm going for a polished bronze look. I got these textures from CG Textures. So diffuse map, normal map. And just going to go with the normal map here for a second. Tell you what, I might try and add a bump map. Sometimes Hitfilm doesn't like bump maps and will crash. Change Cook Torrents. Gonna set it to just copper, just for simplicity purposes here. Now these numbers are punched in. I'll come back at a later time and show you exactly what each one does. Let me see here. Just punching these in, do some change this ambient color to a dark gray. We'll leave everything here pretty much the same for now. Let's just go with that. Okay, so click OK. Do some saving here. Always save your project. So right now we just have one light, and you can see, let's just scroll in here, do away with the floor plan. Looks terrible, right? Looks terrible. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to use the bump map. I want to go with the polished look. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, let's see how that works out. So highly polished, highly polished. I had this emblem done, highly polished. All right, that looks way better. So textures. This is what I'm going for. Let's just look through the whole thing. We just have one light now. Lights are another animal. So with that, there's a few more things you can do. So I just textured it. I had brought in some media earlier, and I have a HDR map. And always save your project. So this is an HDR of a desert area, blue sky. It's a brownish color that I want. I'm going to turn that off. Go back to the controls for the models. Twirl down material. Environment map. Use a layer. And I'm going to use that environment map. Now you notice nothing happened, right? Nothing happened. Go back to your model. You can right click your model as well. The model properties. And I think I'm going to maybe pump up the specular reflectivity to about 5. Okay? I'm going to show you why. All right. Now I'm going to unselect the layer, none. Now you'll notice over here in this area, the model's going to get brighter. Use layer. So here I'm using this environment map. So what that does, let's go to a main view here so we can see. Okay, turn the light off. Turn the light down. It's blasting all over. Maybe move it back a little bit more for now, so the light ain't blowing the model out. All right. So you noticed in the models we also put an ambient color here under ambient. That happens when you add a new light. Changes properties to ambient, and now you can see the model just went crazy, right? So that ambient color, I'm going to slide it down to maybe 9-10%. Okay. Now, just slick the ambient on and off. You can see I get the ambient light to light the model even more. Now, you can go crazy, and I don't want to get too crazy. Save. In the model properties under specular reflectivity, okay, you can actually pump this refractive amount up 5%, maybe pull this specular reflectivity up to 20. And I'm going to show you what that does to the surface of the model when the camera is moving. Okay, the environment map is reflecting off of the model. Now, if you look real close, especially right here, you'll see the blue sky moving along the model. Okay, the line of it's right here. Sorry about that. Let's get back to just a screen fit real quick. And you'll see up in here, you know, this is the ground right here, and it's moving as the camera moves. And I don't really want that because after all, this is a space logo in space, and the ground doesn't exist really. But I need lighting, and a space dark environment map doesn't do anything for you. So save, save, save. Go back to the properties. And I'm just going to drop this specular reflectivity down to maybe 5. Same with the refractive amount. Click OK. Now when I move the camera, you can still see some, especially over here. But when I add flare lights and stuff to this scene, when it's all done, you won't see the reflection of the environment map running across the model. If you want that, cool. If your title or whatever is in the middle of a field and you want that field reflected, go for it. Okay, that was a little bit long. I apologize for that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to break this up so that way I can keep half your attention. No use sitting through an hour video of how to do this. So I'm going to make a part 3. On how to do lights and finish off the lights and flares, finish off some color adjustments, and have a cool logo when we're done. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. See you in part 3.